October of 2016, my husband Shane passed away.
I lost my partner, who I'd been with for 25 years.
After my husband died, I was very angry and sad, and I didn't know what to do with that.
His death was because of substance abuse. After he died, I was floundering.
After my wife had died, a lot of people would come up to me and tell me, well, you're so young, you know, it's not supposed to happen to somebody your age. But the fact is it does.
You do feel all alone and you feel abandoned.
It's completely different when you lose your own child. I had worked with families who had lost children before, but now I really understood it.
We aren't given time to process and feel and do that, and Heartlight provides that for people.
Coming here kept me going.
Okay, and he runs out the door and goes just right over. Runs into their place. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought this.
Ed and I were together 25 years. I tried to capture as much as I could from some of our friends to the fact that he loved polo, as you can see.
Heartlight is a nonprofit center for grief education and support. We serve anyone in the Denver metro community who's dealing with the loss of someone close to them.
Being able to be with other people and have community, to have a safe place to come and to share your story and to talk about your loss is the gift of Heartlight Center.
I essentially was curled up on the couch for 3 months.
My husband and I had been together for 43 or 44 years, I can't remember now, and I just didn't know how to be alive without him.
When we lost my mom suddenly, we were both in trouble and couldn't help each other. So I knew we needed somewhere to be.
Because you're like, is anybody gonna understand this? Is anybody gonna understand, you know, what really just happened to me? You know, it takes time, but over time you do see, you know, that there are people that can understand this.
Everybody in those groups knows exactly what you're going through because they've been through it.
There's the Father's Day cards. And I just lost it. And I thought, I can't deal with this right now. And I just broke down sobbing.
It's so beneficial to be with other people who get it, who understand it in a different way than anybody else can.
Met with a friend's wife, and she was a therapist, and said, you know, she'd done the research. I was in a fog after my wife had passed. And she'd said, you know, Brian, you know, people your age, you have the highest rate of suicide of any demographic out there. And I just sat there.
That was really helpful.
And I thought, right?
It gives people permission to lighten up from time to time and be able to laugh.
And I still remember the first time I laughed after Pat died was with this group, and I felt really guilty. I thought, well, you shouldn't be laughing. Your husband died. And then I realized it was okay to laugh.
As a psychologist, I refer lots of individuals and families to all the programs that they offer. The groups are also helpful because there's people who are there in all different points along the grief journey.
From listening to the group, I'm a newbie. I've been here about 9 months.
My husband passed away 7.5 years ago.
Still a daily struggle in some ways, but I have everybody here.
I realized that there was a place for my grief. I could listen to other people, learn from other people, people who had lost spouses years and years ago, or people who were even newer to grief than I was. We've had people come when services happened the week before. We also once had someone who came, and it was 9 years after the death had occurred, and she said, you know, this is the first time I've been ready to be part of a group.
You know, there's these old myths about grief that after 6 months or after a year, you should be done with grieving. Grieving is never done. It changes, it shifts, it's different for different people, but it doesn't end in that way. I lost my son Weston when he was 10 years old. And that was 16 years ago. I would never have known it at the time, but every single day of my life, I feel like I am closer to him than I ever was. And I feel so fortunate that I got to be his mom, that he chose me, that I had 10 wonderful, wonderful years with him. That was kind of the beginning of my association with Heartlight Center. You know, it has been so meaningful to me. It can be very, very hopeful for someone who's just had a loss and see that, oh my goodness, they can smile, they can laugh, they've found joy again in life.
I had gone to the cemetery, and I was standing there talking to Ed, even though I know he's not there. And I said, Ed, I'm gonna be happy. And so I drove from there here for a group.
Heartlight Center has grown from having one group per month to now having 13 groups, because wherever the need is that's stated to us, that's how we grow.
There really hasn't been anything in the Denver area that has offered grief services to the community. And Heartlight has stepped in and filled a very important niche.
This is a photograph of my dad 32 years ago, holding my younger daughter, Anne. April 25th will be 26 years since my dad died. And I'm here because of my father's illness and death. After he died, I was shocked at how powerful and overwhelming grief felt. And I wondered if other people felt this way in the grief process. Did other people feel a little crazy? And that was something that not only changed my heart, it changed my life, and it changed my life's path. And literally this place for me was a dream of a place that was warm and welcoming, where there were lights, where you could find your way in the dark. I wrote that all down, and I talked to John Horan about that and how important it would be for this to be a program for and of and by the community.
When we purchased McConaty's, I wanted so badly to have a place where people could come and talk, not have me just answering phones all night, but to have something that people could be heard. And this turned out to be 1,000 times more than I hoped for.
Heartlight was something that really, I'd have to say, saved me.
Sometimes when I didn't feel like I needed to be here, I knew I needed to be here because it wasn't just about me. It was about the people in the group.
I don't know what things would be like for me without Heartlight.
As soon as I came in the door, I was drawn in by all of the heart.
I wanted to be involved with a support group that would accept me and my lifestyle. When I started coming, I couldn't have felt more accepted.
You just feel at home and safe to say anything you want, and you make new friends and who help you get through this road that keeps on going.
Without Heartlight, I would probably be laying in bed under the covers, you know, because life is a depressing place when you don't have a community.